Right, here we have it, the second video, episode number 2, of whatever this is going to be called. I need to think of a name, and I know everybody says that, but I do. But we're just going to go with episode 2 and whatever I'm going to chat about today, which is my plans for 2024. So I am also going to include a couple clips from a recent training session, just because you're probably going to get bored of my voice, or at least my face, because I'm probably going to do a voiceover in that as well. But I will give you a little bit of training, and then we'll get back to this, which is going to be talking about the plans for 2024 and what I've been doing in the lead up to when prep will start. So let's watch the videos, go through some training, and then we'll get back to this. Okay, so first voiceover on the channel. We are going with a push session, or some clips from my most recent push. So I'm basically just putting these in to, one, talk you through my training a little bit, but also break up the chat that is probably going to be quite long. So starting out in this session, I actually have an incline dumbbell press. Now, this isn't something that I usually do. If you follow me for a while, you'll know that I actually like to start with a lateral. As most people do, because not only do most people need more side delt, but it also mentally prepares me. It also physically prepares me. So I feel very warm going into my movements, and I just feel a little bit safer. However, coming out of the diet, I want to get as strong as possible on this movement. It's one that I really, really enjoy. And I do think that doing a lateral first is potentially going to take away. The only other thing as well to justify that is, sounds a bit childish. Mentally, I get excited to do this dumbbell press. If I do a movement before it, I know I rush through it a little bit. So it makes sense at the minute to just go in with the dumbbell press when I do feel safe and very ready to do that. I do spend, a good amount of time doing some mobility, doing warm-up sets. So you've got to take that into consideration. But for the moment, it's allowing me to progress very well, and it's feeling very good. After that, we go into a sort of shoulder press. Arguably a little bit more of a high incline here, especially with where I allow my hips to shift forward slightly. The Atlantis shoulder press, it's a very good movement once you get used to it. Now, I say once you get used to it because if you get on it straight away, it will feel a little bit strange. It definitely forces you to push out in front of you, which is why I like to shift my hips forward a touch. It also will force you to push your elbows behind you a touch. So you have to be prepared for that. But once you get into position and, you find your groove with it, I do think it's a really good movement, and it's one you can get very strong at. Next up is the tricep compound, where we still hit a little bit of pec here. So we've gone with the incline dumbbell, which is obviously pec. We've then gone the high incline, which is a little bit of pec, a little bit of front delt, or a little bit more front delt, and then the tricep compound, which is the dip. So this is a fantastic movement. Like I said, I'm getting a bit of chest, bit of tricep here, and it feels really, really nice as well. Next up is actually a lateral raise, but I didn't film that. So we've got the pec deck, and that's followed by another lateral raise, which is then followed by the tricep work as well as some ab work. So pretty much going to wrap it up here. The pec deck here is the Alive Fitness one. It's okay. If you've used it, you'll know that it does feel a little strange in the position it tries to force you into, but like most, you get a really good pump, and that's the main thing with a pec deck in my opinion. So there it is, the first voiceover on the channel. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you took some value from the small things that I said. And yeah, we will get back into the chat and the actual topic of this video. So, plans for 2024. Now, I think with just talking about myself and talking through my plans, I want to try and help and potentially give some advice as well. So I will talk you through sort of why I've done some certain things and some things that maybe you can think about as I bring up certain things that hopefully can help you guys out as well. So especially if you're looking to start prep, or if you're younger and you're planning to prep in the future, hopefully some of the things that I say now will get you thinking and almost get you prepared for what's to come and what you need to be doing. So I think the best place to start really is 2021, which was the last time I got on stage. Or the last time I got off stage. So I finished my prep in 2021 around about October, November time. And since that time until now, I've pretty much put myself in a position to grow. I haven't really spent too much time dieting, haven't really worried too much about how I've looked. And I've almost just, had blinkers on and been super, super focused on just getting better in the gym, eating plenty of food and allowing my body weight to trend upwards. And, it's definitely a strange feeling because as a natural, you do question, are you making progress? Do you feel bigger? Do you, think any muscle is being built? Because unless you're, as lean as you were when you were stage lean, it's very difficult to know if you're gaining muscle. You compare photos from one point to another, and yes, you can see changes, but is that going to stick around? Is that actually muscle, or is it just I'm holding fat a bit better? Like the thoughts that go around your head are crazy, and I'd be lying if I didn't say I've had these thoughts. But one thing that I'm quite happy with, and I think almost proud of, is I haven't let those thoughts allow me to move away from the plan. I had the plan to step on stage in either 2023 or 2024, and when that was confirmed that it was going to be 2024, I've pretty much just got my head down and continued on with what I know is going to get me to being a better bodybuilder in 2024, which is eating and training, and that's really what I focused on. So by the time I get back on stage, it would have been 3 years. It's going to be over 100 weeks. It's already over 100 weeks. I'm not sure of the exact weeks. I think it's maybe 108, 110, something along that line. And out of those 100 plus weeks, I spent 16 of those weeks within a deficit. So that just tells you, how long I spent eating, high amounts of food, eating when appetite wasn't the best, and, almost just getting on with it. It sounds harsh, and I feel like these days you can't really say just get on with it, but it's a big part of bodybuilding. You do ultimately have to make a sacrifice, and sometimes that sacrifice is eating when you don't want to eat. That's a luxury, really. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing for a lot of the time, is just eating plenty of food and training super hard, at least what I think super hard. So yeah, I've spent 16 weeks outside of a surplus in a deficit. And I say that because, as a younger guy, or if you are younger watching this, and girls, it's not just guys, younger girls or guys watching this, if you want to make as much progress as possible in your improvement phase or in your off season, you need to spend time in a surplus. You can't spend time in a diet longer than you need to. 16 weeks in a diet in 100 plus weeks. 4 of those weeks were in 2022. Around about 11 to 12 weeks were in 2023. And that was actually around about 6 weeks ago. So I ended the diet around about 6 weeks ago. That was my pre-prep diet, a mini diet, a diet, whatever you want to call it. That was essentially the start of my 2024 prep diet, which is both exciting and scary as well, because time really does fly. And that's another thing that I think is really important, and something that I actually should touch on is, since stepping off stage in 2021 to now, that time has absolutely flown by. And, I think it's very easy to get stuck in your ways and not really be sort of worried or have that urgency that you have when you're in a diet, about sort of how time is moving. And, you feel like you've got all the time in the world, but, if you have that mentality of I've got all the time in the world, by the time you come to do that next prep, you'll wish you had longer. I'm sure I'm going to have periods of time where I'm like, I wish I had a bit longer. But at the same time, I can pretty much say to myself, I've done, as much as possible, every day pretty much to take me forward, which is all we really want to be doing as bodybuilders. So yeah, I think I went off for a little bit then, but, spend time doing everything possible and don't take time for granted, because it will go super quick in an improvement phase, just like it does in a diet. But, within a gaining phase, you can almost, blink and you'll be back to dieting again, and you don't want to be doing that. So, right, 2021, I finished prep. From then until, now pretty much, I've been focused on improving and growing. I'm still focused on improving and growing, but the goal now is more so being prepared for the prep that is going to come early next year. So I'll give it away. So yeah, the prep's going to start early next year. Essentially, the prep has started now, because that pre-prep diet brought me down from, over 200 pounds. I think in the entire year of 2023, I didn't dip below 200 pounds, which doesn't seem like a big amount of body weight. But when you take into consideration my stage weight was the low 150s, that's 50, almost over 50 pound, I think. It was over 50 pound for most of the year that I was sitting at, which, it's not the most comfortable. You don't look your best. And, you know, it's definitely, like I said, a bit of a head game with how have I actually made progress. So, you know, I did that pre-prep diet. I am now, you know, considerably lighter. I pulled off around about 30 pounds from my heaviest. And yeah, the plan now is to really just maintain where I am in regards to body weight. I'm not looking to gain a load of body weight. I'm pretty much looking to remain here. I think I ended the diet around about 6 weeks ago, and that was around about 2 to 4 pounds ago. So within 6 weeks, I've gained around about 2 to 4 pounds. I went away for a week in that time as well. Xena finished prep, so naturally we're going out for more food. So I feel like things have been managed quite well. The goal now is, like I said, to pretty much maybe gain another, you know, 4 to 5 pounds. But other than that, like, I don't really need too much more body weight. I'm productive in the gym. I feel pretty good day to day. My main focus is just getting those markers even higher. So quick location change, hopefully a little bit better lighting. It was just getting a little bit dark where I was. But I think I was talking about sort of what my plans are right now. So as I was saying, body weight is pretty much holding in a decent spot right now. Food is on the way up. I'm feeling just better and better. Training is in a really, really good spot. So the goal really is to just keep that moving forward, keep everything in a good spot, and then start that prep early next year. So the main difference from the 2021 prep to this prep is obviously the pre-prep diet. I didn't do that in 2021. The prep wasn't unsuccessful, but I do think that if I had started in a bit of a leaner position, then I probably would have had a much easier job of getting leaner, allowed me to get a little bit leaner again, and look a little bit fresher without having to pull off as much body weight. You know, I did pull off over 50 pounds in that prep, which is doable, you know, but I don't really want to be doing that again. So the goal is to start a little bit lighter, which so far is going to plan, like I said. I'm also planning to give myself a couple of weeks extra. So, you know, within a prep, the more time that you can give yourself, the better. But even, you know, 2-3 weeks longer with less body weight to lose, and hopefully a little bit of stage weight gained, although I think I'll be, you know, relatively similar numbers on stage, you know, it should result in a much better prep and better look as well. So yeah, I think, you know, that's another takeaway that some people can shy away from, and maybe some people wouldn't say this on here, but you know, in the last 3 years, I've learned a lot, not only about myself, but, you know, just in general. And I think that's something that's, you know, fantastic about bodybuilding, is that constant level up. You know, you're always improving, you're always learning. And, you know, that's something that I really, really love about bodybuilding. And, you know, I know throughout this entire next year, you know, in 2024, I'm probably going to learn even more. And, you know, preps that I do in the future, and, you know, things that I do with myself this prep, I'll probably do differently in the future. But there's always going to be that element of learning, and there's always going to be that element of, I should have maybe done this, or I could have done that. And that's, you know, what's really cool about this. So yeah, that is going to wrap this up. I've already been speaking for, you know, a hell of a long time. So, you know, if you did listen to all of this, I really do appreciate it. Like I said at the start, you know, I appreciate anybody who watched the previous video, shared it, you know, any comments, anything like that, you know, really means a lot to me. Better. So yeah, I will leave that with you. Again, any support is always appreciated, and I will catch you in the next video.